Most small business owners don't struggle because they lack effort, they struggle because they lack clarity. My name is Adam Diaz, and I've spent nearly 2 decades building, selling, and advising small businesses. This platform exists for one reason: to bring clarity to chaos and insight to confusion. Only what moves your business forward. Here, we talk real strategy, real numbers, and real leadership decisions that actually make your business profitable. If you care about margin and not just the hype, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Margin. All right, welcome, Justin. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
We've known each other for quite a few years now, and I've seen you do some different business ventures. You're quite the entrepreneur, so it's pretty exciting to have you on the show. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now.
What I'm doing right now is learning world trade, and I'm learning how to import product from primarily China. So I'm doing that in a way to take some of the ouch out of buying for ranchers mainly. I've developed a ranch product company, and I have everything made in China, and we do a lot of custom stuff for people, stuff they're not able to have made here. We're able to make it over there and ship it over here for quite a bit better price than they could get it for here.
Awesome.
So
it's kind of foreign manufacturing and distribution.
It started with just ranch supplies and designing our own products with customers and building a better horse panel, for instance, or a better stripping chute or a better roping chute.
So did you actually design the products that you designed? You came up with a new design for the panel, and then you're now having them built in China?
Panels are pretty standard, but we just tried to make improvements on them wherever we could.
Okay.
A lot of that was with cowboys who have been in the business, around horses and cattle for...
So for those that are watching and don't know, what is a panel?
A panel is usually, it's a piece of fencing that you would put together to make a round pen or corrals for cattle or horses. A round pen for training horses, and then stalls and all that for, boarding your horses and stuff like that.
So kind of a temporary fence part.
Yeah.
Maybe temporary, maybe not, but it could be reconstructed or moved.
And set up in any different way.
Lots of configurations.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were some of the improvements you guys made on your panels?
We're in the process of making improvements. The biggest thing with panels is the connectors. It needs to happen in an easy and strong way.
Mm-hmm.
And it also needs to be adjustable to go over rough terrain.
Okay.
So we're in the process of remaking the connections, but we've done other improvements like using galvanized steel for all the entire panel so it's not rusting out. Powder coated. We're always increasing the metal thickness on them, but also we want to make it still carryable so it's not too heavy. Adding extra webbing like dual vertical supports in a 12-foot panel gives you a lot of extra strength without much weight.
Okay.
So just anything possible, we'll ask the rancher or the farmer or the cowboy, what problems are you having with panels? And sometimes it's natives because they use panels a lot. And natives are probably, the animals they deal with are usually wild. So they're putting panels to the test entirely, completely.
Very good.
Natives, I would say, are the best cowboys out there.
Okay. Awesome. So how's business been?
From the start, I've tried to keep it fun because I don't really see a reason to be in business if you're not having fun. And from the start, like I said, I was bringing in my first container of panels. I had like 200 panels fit in a container. And I was selling these medium duty to heavy duty panels for $50 less per panel than the local store chains were paying wholesale. Of course, then they're marking it up to 300 or something like that. I was selling them for 150 a panel. And I had so many happy customers that had been waiting a long time to buy panels because they couldn't afford them. Mm. So that was really gratifying to myself to be able to make a profit and sell a panel for an affordable price. When I was young, I grew up on a small farm. We didn't make a lot of money. And I loved horses. And there was a time where I was just studying all the horse literature and how to train a horse. I went up getting a horse, but I didn't have a training facility like a round pen where a lot of your training happens for horses. And there was about a 2-year period where I was trying to come up with the money for a round pen. And I just couldn't. Even at that time, they were too expensive for me. Mm. So long story short, a farmer gave me enough metal to take to the scrapyard. The scrapyard also sold round pins at the time. And I got a round pin based off of a farmer's generosity and some hard work.
Oh, cool.
So that was such a joy to be able to put my horse in there and then work with my horse. And it was based off of the generosity of that farmer. And so I just love doing that for people whenever I can. And for our business, it's most of the time, which it kind of comes with its drawback because I'm probably not charging enough for the volume I'm pushing, for the volume of sales I'm able to bring in. But nonetheless, it's an important part of the business for me is to be able to provide a quality product at a very affordable price, a price that people can go out and afford a round pin and train their horse without just hurting the bank.
Okay. Well, what questions do you have today for me?
As I have been in this business for a little while, the hardest thing is to grow. The hardest thing for me is to keep product in stock. It's a new business, the bank really looks at us and goes, "You're too new for us to invest thousands into," or I'm not sure what they think, but we've tried a couple of times to borrow money from them, and in order to bring our product stock up to a sustainable amount, so we're never out of product. So that would be a big question from me to you: is what's a good way of coming up with capital to operate a business? First, we were just putting money from construction projects into our first and second, third container. And we do several deck jobs and buy a container. Then I did business with this one manufacturing company for long enough where I pitched to them, "Hey, I could sell more product if you would send me more product, and then I'll pay you afterwards." So 2 years ago, they sent me my first about $100,000 worth of product with an agreement to pay. And that's been kind of revolving. That was taken off really well, actually, until last year came and we were hit with tariffs.
Right.
So we were having to pay quite a bit extra on top of each container of product that came in. And we almost quit our business because we were like, we can't do this. We can't pay for the product and cover tariffs, even if they're forwarding us the product ahead of time and then we pay them afterwards. But we wound up sticking with it and making it through last year, even though we haven't done our taxes yet for last year. So we don't really know exactly where we are. But we were probably right up here. I have a little drawing done. Approximately $500,000 in gross sales, but our cost of goods and operating costs were probably $425,000.
Okay.
So we might have lived on $75,000 in operating costs, and there's almost zero profit really from last year, just to stay in business. And we did build our name brand. We're starting to get brand recognition and everything like that. But my goal is to expand to, instead of 500,000, 2 million to 5 million, and to always be in stock. I mean, within a year or two, always have product in stock.
Okay.
So financing.
So what I'm really hearing is actually right out of the gate is a pricing problem. The fact that you're selling panels for $50 less per panel than the wholesale price is troubling to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is it troubling to you?
Not really. I'm the customer and the business owner.
Well, we'd all, as a customer, like to have things cheaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as the business owner, we need to be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So, on one hand, you're telling me it feels like we're having a hard time being sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know you don't have even larger facilities yet,
Mm-hmm.
or big warehouses, big laydown yards, things that are owned by the business, big fixed capital expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
So if your margins are so tight that you can't afford to expand into those areas, then you will not be able to get to the point where you're doing 5 million in sales.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at a position really. I mean, just that 20,000 foot view. Everything you've told me is telling me you're not charging enough for your product. It's probably not what you wanted
Probably
to hear.
true.
Yeah. But I think probably, I actually think this needs to shift a little bit from a business coaching session to a psychology coaching session, because I want to unpack why you feel the need to sell panels for $50 less than wholesale pricing. Because, so let's just use some real numbers here. You said if you go to, who would I go to buy panels if I didn't go to you?
You might go to Ranch and Home.
Just Ranch and Home. Okay. So how much does Ranch and Home sell a panel for?
They sell a much cheaper, lighter duty panel than I sell for about the same price. I've raised my price $25 a panel, but they're light duty panels.
What would it cost to get an equivalent panel?
Roughly $250 to $300. Don't quote me on that. We'll have to look it up.
Okay.
See what their current panel prices are.
Your panels are going for
$175.
$175. Okay. So why do you feel so driven to have your panels be so much less than what the market is determining the cost of a panel to be?
Perhaps I'm trying to do something for myself, my younger teenage self that was trying to get panels all those years ago. And I think there's a lot of me out there. The bigger view is I think there's a lot of me out there. And if I could sell to a lot of me with a small margin, I do think I could make it successful. I kind of have this opinion that the reason I'm not successful right now is because we're moving a low amount of product, and like last year we were out of that panel for 6 months of the year. So just running out of product seems to be.
But part of the answer to your question is you're saying, hey, how do I get the capital to buy more product?
You could charge more.
You could charge more, and then you'd have more money to buy more product. Right. So part of it, Walmart has Walmart is a distribution company that uses the everyday low pricing model, right? So when in economics and in business school, they teach us different pricing models, right? So you look at somebody like Macy's, for example, they're constantly, prices are up here, things go on sale. Prices are up here, things go on sale. Walmart has adopted, and again, they've named it literally after Walmart, but they call it everyday low pricing, which is what you'll see literally on the signs at Walmart. The idea is that when you go to Walmart, things don't really need to be on sale because you know that Walmart's already providing it at the lowest cost it possibly can be. It's kind of also like the Dave. What's the car dealership over in Kellogg?
Dave Smith.
Dave Smith. Everybody kind of understands. You don't go to Dave Smith and negotiate a lower price because they've mostly put their cars at the price that is already low. They've adopted that everyday low price model. So on one hand, you're telling me, hey, I want to be an everyday low price model business. I don't want to do sales. I don't want to do promotions. It's just when people come to me, they know they're getting the good price. The key to this model is a couple of things. One is the distribution. You have to have the distribution dialed in a way that's better than everybody else, because any business that's going to be successful has to be doing something that's a competitive advantage over everybody else, or you're not making money. If you're not adding value to a market, there's no way that you're going to make money. So you got to answer the question, what is my business adding to the market? Am I doing it better? Am I doing it faster? Am I doing it more efficient? Am I doing it cheaper? Right? Like how am I bringing something to the market that's allowing me to bring the prices lower than standard, right? You're saying you're selling panels at $175 that could go for anywhere from $250 to $300. That's, first of all, a massive difference there, right? Even if you had come up with something that was like, man, I've revolutionized the panel manufacturing industry. I would expect something so standard that was revolutionary to bring costs down. I mean, if we could say 20%, that'd be phenomenal, right? And let's just use the 250, which is the lower, because you said 250 to 300. 20% of 250 is $50. So if you did something just incredible and brought panel costs down by 20%, that'd be $50. You're $25 lower than that. And I'm not convinced yet that you've done something that'll revolutionize the industry. Now, if you did come up with something that would revolutionize the industry, we would put together a business plan and proposal, and we could take that to all sorts of investors and say, look, I've figured out how to produce these panels for 20% less than everybody else. And this is my model. This is how I can show it. I can prove it to you. Let's go sell the panels and we'll take out everybody because we're doing it 20% cheaper than everybody. Right. So then you're selling panels at $200. Everybody else is selling them at $250. You wouldn't have to work another day in your life because you've got such a good business model. See what I'm saying? That's the logic. That's how I think of it. In economics, we think about there's different types of markets in economics, right? So what happens is you have what's called perfect competition, and then you have what's called monopolistic competition. Okay. So in economics, perfect competition is when you sell a good that's what we would call more or less indistinguishable from other similar goods. So the example I used to use with my students in economics class is when you go to buy strawberries, and this might be different for you because you're a farmer, right? But most people don't look at the brand of strawberries that they're buying. They just,
That's true.
They might look at do these strawberries look fresh? And they'll buy them, right?
Yeah.
And these are things like commodities, right? And even we would say there's a price for commodities like wheat. Wheat sells at a certain price. The commodity price for wheat is set by the market. It doesn't matter if you go to the marketplace and say, well, my wheat's better. My apples are better, right? The difference in the price of this good, because it's a perfectly competitive good, is going to be dictated by the market. Whereas in a monopolistic competitively market, what's called monopolistic competition, these goods are differentiated, right? So the shirt you're wearing, shirts is an example of a monopolistic competition because we sell our shirts for different prices based on the quality, based on the brand, based on the brand recognition. It's not as if you say, well, shirts cost $40, right? Do you see? So
Yeah.
panels, first of all, is in a highly competitive market, I would assume, because it's a more or less standardized product. Now, you are telling me, hey, we are a little bit, at least in monopolistic competition, because we are customizing our panels and making them better, right? So part of what you're telling me is, hey, we're bringing a better panel to market. If anything, that tells me you should be above market average price.
Kind of realistically, right?
Realistically, right? So if the average price is $250, maybe your panel's $265, and you're making an extra $15 per panel because, hey, we've gone in and we've thoughtfully changed these 9 things about our panels. And because of these 9 things that are different, you're going to pay $15 per panel extra. But again, you're telling me our panels are $75 cheaper, which is, 25%.
I should mention that one of my competition is another guy that's doing kind of a similar thing to me, except for he's not customizing anything.
Okay.
He just has enough resources to bring in plain and simple panels, but decently strong, same strength as mine. And I have always just been making sure that I'm underneath his prices. So I am competing against a guy who doesn't have a brand, but he just brings in product and sells the basic product. No mods or anything like that. Probably not galvanized, maybe not powder coated. But I have been making sure that he's kind of like my competition. I'm watching him. I kind of keep an eye on him. Sometimes I send customers his way if I know he has something that I don't have. But there's a different market going on. And to me, people are starting to pick up on that different market, because if you're on Marketplace, Facebook advertising, and you're looking for a product, it will keep sending you any product with any price, the lowest prices on it. It'll just keep sending those to your phone. Those will pop up first. And some of the China market has been popping up on people's phones, and people are becoming aware, oh, you can actually get these from the factory. So it's becoming more common knowledge that we have access to the factories overseas now, like an average person can have access. So the market isn't dominated anymore by these big store chains who work together to keep the prices high. and don't sell in each other's territories and everything like that. That was kind of the old business model, whereas now I can literally sell more wire off of my phone than Ranch and Home will sell from a $5 million store. Just because people are searching and finding it on a phone, they're going to my place and getting it, and I make the sale to that customer because I have a cheaper price. The ability to research prices has gotten way easier in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that access to the factory prices is starting to become available even right now. In the last 6 months, I've noticed that change. And I think in the next year and a half, it will.
Yeah. So let's keep talking about this business and the business model. Cause I'm thinking, how are we going to make money with this? Because I'm also seeing an issue of if people can buy direct from China, then eventually they're just going to cut out the middleman, which is you. Mm-hmm. You're not providing what Ranch and Home or, these other big stores are providing, which is a place where I can come shop. So I can come buy all sorts of products. There's a guy there all the time. It's always open, and they do have the money behind it to keep everything in stock. So they're charging a premium price over what you're charging. You're trying to hit this wholesale price, but again, you're running into the issue of, well, I don't always have it. You can't just drive to my location the day you need it and pick it up. You've got to call me, off of whatever avenue that I'm selling it. So they're hitting some limitations with you that they're not hitting with these other places. That's going to be the markup. So then the question becomes, okay, what are you providing to the market? Again, that basic question, what are you providing to the market that's adding value so that people will do it? Immediately, one idea that comes to my mind is, why don't you just become a broker to help people do this purchasing themselves that they don't know how to do or want to do? So for example, hey, I'm a farmer. I would love to buy 500 panels. I've got a huge project, but I don't want to go to buy them from a local place with these high prices. I want to buy them direct from China. I don't know how to buy them from China. I don't know the process, but I know Justin. Hey, Justin, will you facilitate me purchasing 500 panels at this price? The advantage of this is now it's their money. You have no capital invested. You maintain all your connections, because it's not a simple thing to buy product overseas, and you still want to know the right people and know the right terms and modify them and all the different things, right? So people can come to you with large orders. They're funding it. You're putting together the custom orders, and they're bringing in their own containers of panels that you're just taking a percentage cut of.
I am drifting more in that direction. Even yesterday, we got a container in, and it had some big 24-foot custom panels in it. We only have one loader. I went to my neighbor down the road. He has got several loaders, and I said, hey, can I borrow your loader again? And he loaned us his big loader for the 20th time. When I brought it back, as I was bringing it back, and this guy's helped us out for like 20 years. We've worked for him. We've done big building projects for him from my previous life as a construction worker. And now he's just been loaning us his loader, and he never takes money for it. I'll try to give him money. No, don't worry about it, Justin. I'll try to.
So again, I want to poke at that little just for a minute, because this goes back to the earlier part of the conversation. Those types of stories tell me your business is not scalable and not sustainable, because you can borrow your friend's loader at your volume now, which is about $500,000. But if you want to scale this to 10 million, you would need 20 times to borrow. You need to borrow your friend's loader 20 times more than you're borrowing it now. And I think he wouldn't want that. You were going to need to buy your own loader, but your price doesn't sustain, or it won't cover you buying your own loader.
Kind of.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's put a pin in that and keep going with what you're saying.
So no, I get it. We do have a loader. We only spent $5,000 on it, and it needs some work right now. It works, but it needs some work. And I get your point. It's kind of true. Except for where I was going with this farmer was, I'm driving back to his place. He's got fields everywhere. I'm starting to bring in other products, other more profitable products, like center drives for pivot circles, pivot irrigation, center drives and gearboxes and tires. And that is a whole skill of its own. It took a lot of searching to find the factory that makes good quality parts and the shipping agents who are able to get it here without it being an arm and a leg for shipping. So I'm driving this loader back over there and I'm thinking, I'm going to hook this guy up because he has done nothing but help us for 20 years. So I'm going to offer him irrigation parts for cost plus 25%. So I bring the loader back, going in and talk to his son, and his son's like, hey, seems like you like borrowing our loader a lot. And I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, well, I also noticed you're bringing in irrigation parts now, and we use the heck out of irrigation parts, and they're really expensive. Could you help us out with pricing in trade for loaning you our loader? And I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. So I spent hours last night going over all my irrigation parts, coming up with pricing for them, sending it over to them last night and this morning. And it will be on the basis of, you write me a check, I'll make sure you get product. And with 25% on top for me, just to cover business operating costs, which is fairly decent in irrigation products because you can easily have a $10,000 to $20,000 order of these gearboxes.
Yeah, to me, that feels like a much more sustainable and scalable business model. And it feels like you're adding something to the market. And this is the key thing I want you to walk away with, maybe from this entire conversation, is what do I add to the market that's worth value that will make it so people want to pay more than what they would do on their own?
So oddly, remember when I stood up and introduced myself in the last meeting over there? I said something like, I'm Justin, I'm co-owner of Rumbling Mountain, and I'm an importer. I myself practice importing goods.
Yes.
And I do it day and night. I'm on the phone like half of many nights, sometimes all night, talking to factories and shipping agents for like 2 years now. So I've developed connections, and there's where I actually know I have connections. And I guess the knowledge of that brought me brings me a skill. So there's this business, Rumbling Mountain, that makes products kind of like a community service for people. And then there's the fact that I'm an importer and I have access to all these companies and shipping agents that can get product here at a great price. That to me seems the solid, true skill of any of this.
I would agree completely. So you need to make sure you're selling that service. And you need to make sure that knowledge is appropriately marked up. So so you telling me that, again, it's very insightful. You had to be up all night. You're dealing with these people at night because they're on the other side of the world. You got to know different ones. It's hard to build trust and relationship with these people because you can't talk to them. You don't know them. You've done all these things. This is where the breakdown is going to happen. People are not going to want to do that. The farmers are not going to want to do that. They want to farm. That's how they make their money. That's what they're bringing to the market. What you're bringing to the market is the ability to facilitate these transactions. That is something that people are willing to pay for, right? Whether it's 25%. And this is the good thing about it is you can, so if somebody enters into a contract with you, you're not paying for any of it.
Right.
You're not bringing the capital for any of it. And you're passing on all the costs that are associated with it. If a shipment comes in and a tariff hits, that's their tariff. It's not your product. It's their cost. If it needs an extra payment, if you got to rent a loader to move it from one place to another place, that's not your cost. That's going on the invoice. That's their cost. So they're getting an invoice of all the costs that it actually costs for this plus your markup. I don't know that I would try, you're going to be doing some. What you're trying to do is be a merchandiser, right? You're trying to buy product wholesale and you're trying to resell it at a profit. That's a tough business. It does take a lot of capital because you gotta store it. You gotta have an inventory system. You've got to sell it. You've got to have ways to distribute it. The more inventory that's sitting there, the more expensive it is. Merchandising is a huge undertaking and it's very expensive. Now I can see you doing a little bit on the side saying, hey, here's a real profitable product and I'm just going to order an extra 300 of them, throw them in my backyard and sell them on Facebook Marketplace and make an extra buck, right? But really, that's not the scalable part of your business and that's not going to make you rich. The scalable part of your business that's going to make you a lot of money is the knowledge of how to get people deals.
True.
Because I can guarantee you there's bigger and bigger fish out there that say, okay, we actually need $1.2 million of parts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a commission on $1.2 million of parts in one order, they're going to save a ton of money because they're getting it all wholesale through reputable people that you know and have a relationship with. And your commission or markup on that can be super small, and it can still be a significant amount of money.
I did just have likely $1 billion farm reach out to me because they saw my advertisements on Marketplace regarding those irrigation parts. So more than $1 billion farm.
That's amazing. So walking away from here, so they're like, oh, here's this Justin guy. What are you selling them?
I'm selling them a service, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could just sell them the product at our marked up prices, blah, blah, blah. But really, I would prefer to sell them a service.
Yes. You do not want to sell them the product. You don't want to carry the risk. You don't want to carry the financing. You don't want to carry the storage. None of that.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to make a list of all the parts that need to be purchased, and then you will facilitate the overseas purchase.
Mm-hmm. And
the shipping, everything, the delivery, and they pay for it all. You're carrying no risk, and then you're making your commission on that. And that's a service that they will more than be happy to pay for.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. I know so.
You want to position your company as that's what you do, right? So you're not you got to stop trying to position yourself as a retailer. You don't sell panels. Like I said, if you want to do that on the side, here and there as a something you're passionate about or a dream, or you want to make them affordable or whatever, sure. But that's not a scalable business as it stands right now. The importer part of what you are able to do is you can do that over and over at larger and larger scales, and create teams that can be able to do that, create better relationships, stronger partnerships, and you can make a lot of money doing that with all sorts of farmers all over the region very, very quickly because it's solving a pain point for people, right? Yep. People want to have these cheaper prices, but they don't want to stay up till 3 a.m. talking to somebody in China that they don't know, right? That's a huge pain point that you're solving. And so people will be willing to pay for that. And that's how you want to position yourself.
I agree. I also think you answered my other two questions. One is the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
And it seems like my bigger deals and my bigger connections come from my least, like not trying to push things. So I have done some deals where somebody will say, can I get this ordered? For example, somebody came and looked at my feeder panels, which you use for feeding cattle. And he's like, could you make one that's this size and it goes into a box like this? And how much would that be? And I was like, sure, yeah, I could do that. It'd be easy to downsize this and turn it into a box. That would probably be this price. In 5 minutes, he wrote me a $2,000 check and handed it to me. I put that to the company, the factory. They made him, and a few months later, we got him his product. But that was the easiest thing where a customer said, can you get me this? I said, yes. He handed me a check. So that's been happening. The more I notice that happen, those are the easiest sales.
Yes. They're
just facilitating a product that someone's looking for, making it happen.
And it's a simpler business model. There was a story, I learned this in business school as well, when they looked at Lego. Everybody knows about Legos, the bricks that you snap together. They were super profitable, super big company, and they were really good at making Legos. Back in the 90s, they branched out into all these other things. They started making video games. They started making theme parks, Legoland, right? They started making clothing. They started making, movies, all this other stuff. And it almost bankrupted the company because they took a really simple concept that they were really good at and they were making millions, if not billions of dollars on, and then started doing a bunch of stuff that's complicated unnecessarily to a simple industry, a simple service, right? And in some ways, I feel like you're doing a little bit of the same thing here when you're trying to import and sell stuff. That is a whole nother game and a whole nother industry. And eventually you may have the capital behind it and the know-how to make that work. But right now, your skill set is it's not the best use of the skill set is for you to import stuff yourself to sell. It's to help other people facilitate these sales. Like you said, they'd write the $2,000 check. And I think people will write those $2,000, $5,000, $20,000, $50,000 checks all day long to say, oh, Justin knows how to get me this product at the better price. Yeah, why not? Right?
Yeah.
And again, it solves all your other cash flow problems. It solves your 80-20. Right now, you're spending 80% of your time messing around with selling panels on Facebook Marketplace, and it's 20% of your revenue because your prices are too low. And we established that at the beginning of this whole conversation. Even if you're making some money now, that's going to, you're going to have a CPA do your tax return and you made $75,000, you're not accounting for all the overhead as if this was going to scale. The warehouse, the movers, the trucks, the salespeople, the internal salespeople, external salespeople, facilities, IT, insurance on a bigger building, all these things, you start adding all that up, put it in a spreadsheet, and all of a sudden you're going to be right back to the $250 per panel. The 175 is not scalable, right? As a side deal, it is, I buy some panels because I know how to do it. I put them in my backyard. I put them on Facebook Marketplace. People pay. They're happy. I'm happy. I'm making some money still. It's a good, like I said, side deal, but it's not scalable at this level. And if you put all your energy into it, it's not going to be enough monetary return for the effort. It's not the best use of your skill set. Your skill set is going to be best used helping these farmers basically do it on a larger scale. And it will solve your money problem immediately, because they're covering it and they have the capital, right?
I can see that very clearly now because I've been experiencing both as I'm going along. I'm experiencing all the struggle, and then I'm experiencing the occasional, get me that, and give me it for this price, and I'll handle that for somebody. And I'm just going more and more in that direction as the middleman. And I've always been really, since I was really young, doing any business. I found benefit being the middleman, just connecting.
Yeah.
The need with the supply. But,
and it's kind of like you're a broker, right? I mean, that's almost what I call it. But so again, the part that you got to get out of is the merchandising. You're not a store, you're a broker, right? And I think if you make that one shift and build your business model around it, this could do really, really well, right? And then as I think about how does this scale, pretty soon you're not hiring merchandise managers, you're not hiring shop people, you're not building shops, you're hiring salesmen that are appointment setters. So you've got Eastern region, Western region, Eastern Oregon, North Idaho. You've got these salesmen in all these different places that are saying, hey, these are the prices I can get you on these products. Oh, this is great. And then they're calling up you, Justin, who's the guy, the kingpin, right? That puts all this stuff together, puts together the deals. And, you're sitting in your office putting together these deals that you have all these salesmen putting out, and you're never carrying product. You're just facilitating deals and taking a percentage of everything that comes in. It's very scalable, very doable. And you've already taken the time to figure all this out. And it's not easy, right? Like, it's super cool. Like, I respect the heck out of it. Like, this is super cool that you've been able to figure all this out. Now go sell the thing that you can uniquely do.
I can do that.
Yeah.
If we have like 10 or 15 minutes left.
I have to charge you double.
Okay. Deal.
Go ahead.
My next question, which would be super important to me, is hiring salesmen, because, just hiring salesmen. How do you go about that? I have a couple of options, particularly one or two guys right now. And one guy, he just knows everybody. He's great to talk to, always an interesting story. He's memorable, and he knows so many people. So we've talked to him about selling for us. He's interested. He would like the extra side revenue, not even his full-time job, but he just knows so many people that he can go and talk and sell stuff.
Well, that's the way the farming industry is, right? It's a power of network and who you know. So you get the right people advocating for you, then you're golden. So when you're in the position you are, which is starting out, you have to do 100% commission. 100% commission for your salespeople, because it takes all the risk off of you as the business owner. Now, once you're established, you can do something like, hey, I'll give you base salary, or every appointment you set will get you X amount of dollars, or these different, creative ways to incentivize salespeople. But right now, you're in high entrepreneurial mode, which means any salesperson that comes on needs to also be in high entrepreneurial mode, which means you eat what you kill. If you don't bring in sales for the company, we're not paying you. Plain and simple, right? So your salesperson will work the same way you do, which is they will get a percent of everything they sell, and it's going to be less than your percent.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%
Right?
commission
So
in that way. Yeah.
it sounds like, you said the irrigation parts, for example, you're marking up 25%.
That is only to
That one guy.
Close people, supporters. Otherwise, we're marking it up 100%.
100%. Wow.
And more.
So, wow. Yeah. So again, this is all spreadsheet work, right? This part of it is just math. This part of it is just math. You figure out, when I do this sale, this is how much we mark it up in our percentage. So you could, if you're marking it up 100%, you might, and I'm just throwing out a number, you might give them 20% of everything they sell.
As a broker, I would prefer not to mark it up that much, because that is selling it through the store that we've been kind of partnering with.
Gotcha.
That's our current sales model. But if I were brokering it, it'd be closer to the 25% or
25.
30.
Yeah. So again, that's what you're doing, because for these farmers to want to do this, they have to be getting a good deal.
Yes.
Right. And that's the purpose is, hey, I want the good deal from China. I just don't want to have to figure out how to work with people from China. Justin will solve that pain point, and I'm still going to get a good deal. So it might be that 25 to 40% markup. All right. So again, and I'm just making up numbers. If it's 25 to 40%, you might be paying your sales guy 10% of everything they sell.
10% of the wholesale?
Potentially. Maybe a little less, maybe 5% of the wholesale. Again, this part is just a math problem.
Yeah.
It's just a math problem.
100%
and you
commission
figure
and then
out,
figuring out.
Yep. You figure out what markup makes sense to you so that you're making money, so the farmer still is getting a good deal, and so you can pay your salesman a commission. Once you figure out, and we can, I'm happy to help you set that up. We can tweak it, and you have all the levers, and you just figure out what price points make sense, what commissions it makes sense, which margins make sense, and then you just cut them loose, right? And the only type of people that work on commission only are the entrepreneurial, hardworking type, right? But that's what phase your business is in. So that's all you can afford to hire, right? You don't want to hire a salesman with a $2,000 a month guarantee salary plus commission, because if they go 3 months and don't sell anything, you're out all this extra money and payroll tax and everything else, and it's a hassle, right? So they're straight commission. They're a percentage of what they sell. You're still facilitating the deal, so taking the majority of the commission. But if they're bringing you deals, that's worth it all day long.
True. I would like to spend a little bit more time on that if, another day when we can meet again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That sounds like a really cool business. And honestly, you walking in here before, I was less excited about what you're doing, and I'm more excited about it now, because I think this is a much stronger business model for you.
Awesome. Yeah, sitting with somebody who's very successful, like yourself.
Thank you.
How to manage my time. That's going to be a lot easier if I'm operating by the 20% versus the 80%, but still, time management seems to be such a big hassle for me because I'm doing too much, probably.
Yeah.
But still, time management is any clues on that, even if it was like 3 answers or 1 answer.
Yeah.
And I'll write it down.
So I'm actually really glad you brought that time management thing up, because the more I'm working with entrepreneurs right now, the more I'm wanting to pull my hair out because people are wasting their time.
Exactly.
It's not even a matter of time management in the sense of it's more of like you're spending time doing things that don't matter in your business. They don't drive the bottom line. They don't drive the top line. They're not controlling costs. At the end of you're doing stuff that's spinning your wheels. And so I would say the biggest thing of time management first is not how can I get all this stuff done? It's how much of this stuff actually needs to get done. And that's the first step of time management, because if you're wasting time doing things that don't really move the needle in your business, you need to stop doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing I see small business owners doing is just wasting time doing things that aren't important, that they think matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just a crazy little other example came to my head. And I don't want this to be legal advice by any stretch, but a lot of times one of the first things people do when they start their business is get their LLC formed. Some businesses need an LLC, some don't. Okay. And that's why this is not legal advice. I'm not trying to say whether you should or shouldn't have an LLC, but you can spend a lot of time doing administrative paperwork, trying to figure the LLC out and refining the operating agreement and working with an attorney. And all of a sudden you've spent $2,500 on an attorney, $200 to get the LLC. You've spent, 3 weeks and, 5 hours of those each 3 weeks, like reviewing the operating agreement and blah, 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 blah. And it's all this stuff that just doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
When really what you should be doing is going and getting sales.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Like go get some sales and stop worrying about your operating agreement. Work for a year and then get an LLC. People think that getting an LLC is the end all be all. And again, I just got to be careful because I'm not an attorney. I'm not telling you don't need an LLC. There's certain times you do want and need an LLC. But what I'm saying is business owners tend to have this lack of ability to understand what is a priority and what is not.
It's kind of like a guy who dresses nice because he's really not that wealthy.
It could be. Like, sometimes it's status based, right? Like this thing makes me feel official as a business, and it's more about stroking the ego of this makes me feel important, or it makes me feel successful, or it makes me feel rich, or whatever. And it's not really that important to the business, right? So first thing in time management, figure out not just how to fit everything in, but what can be cut out completely. Okay. The second thing is what I call the notebook method. And I might actually do a whole nother video on this because it's so powerful. But I get a notebook, similar to the one you have in front of you. I like the type that tears off at the top. And when I start a day, I don't do this as much anymore. I do this still though when I'm overwhelmed. So to me, this is a tool I use when I'm overwhelmed or I just feel like I have so much on my mind. I use electronic to-do task software right now called Todoist. That's what I use right now. But when I get overwhelmed, I revert back to this method. I get the electronics out of it completely. I get like a yellow pad that tears off at the top, and I just brain dump everything that's weighing me down. No particular order, no organization to my list. I just literally have to get it from my mind to the yellow pad, and I write it all down. After I write it all down, I look at it and I try to make some sort of categorization in my head of that list. So what I'll do is I'll literally tear that piece of paper off and rewrite the list again. And usually my second version of the list, I'm using better handwriting because I'm trying to organize myself. I'll group similar tasks together. So it's like I've got these errands to do. I've got these calls I need to make. So I might make a little section of my page that says calls. These three things. I might make a little section of my page that says needs done by lunch, right? And write these three things. So I know these three things need done by lunch. And I kind of organize that list so that I can see everything that needs to be done. I also will write down the things that are stressing me out the most, especially when I'm getting to a point where I'm having a lot of anxiety. I'll say, well, what really is causing my anxiety? Like if they went away, would I then not be anxious about it? I wouldn't have any anxiety anymore. Put those things towards the top of your list and then get them done, right? Because sometimes we kick the can down the road on the things that are making us anxious. Like, I'm really anxious about calling this guy because his shipment's 2 weeks late from what I promised him. This is making me anxious.
That's been happening.
Yeah. So, well, you end up being anxious for 3 days longer than you need to and it's bad service, bad customer service, right? Bad news doesn't get better with time. Just call him, tell him what's going on, and your anxiety will be off. It fixes your anxiety, it fixes the problem, and it's off your list, right? So I do this with this yellow pad, and I'll have everything written down. And then as the day goes on, I'm crossing stuff off the list. And sometimes as soon as I cross 2 or 3 things off the list, I'll rewrite the list. It's a weird thing that it happens, but once the list has a few things crossed off, I will tear that sheet off and just redo the list. And it's a constant way to organize what needs to be done in my brain and see the different things live on this piece of paper. And maybe there's a new priority, or maybe something ended up not being as big of a priority as I thought. Things are moving around the list. And as you're writing this list, there'll be other things that's like, oh, I can't forget to do this. Put it on the list, right? But it constantly puts everything that you need to do right in front of you. And I'll, like I said, redo that list 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a day. Just as I'm crossing stuff off, I'll tear the, cross 3 or 4 things off, tear the page off, rewrite the list. Cross 3 or 4 or 5 things off, tear the page off, rewrite the list. And things are getting added constantly, but I'm just kind of refreshing, and it's keeping top of mind. What are the most important things that need to be done for my business? It's an extremely powerful tool for time management because it keeps you focused on what's important. To me, it just reduces anxiety. It keeps you prioritized. It helps you see what are the priorities, right? It frees your mind. This is a big thing. Have you ever been in a space where it's like, you almost can't focus because you keep running through your mind all the things you have to do? Somehow writing it down on that list frees you up to be able to go start doing one thing at a time. The other thing is, when you're making this list, if anything on the list takes less than 60 seconds, just do it. If it takes more than 60 seconds, put it on the list. There's a weird spot in there, though, that's going to happen. And I would say that's like the 1 minute to 5 minutes. You're going to be tempted to just do the things that are 1 to 5 minute tasks. Don't. The only time you stop your list to do a task is if it's 60 seconds or less. If it's that 1 to 5 minute or 1 to 10 minutes, so it's still a quick thing that you want to be distracted by and just do, put it in its own section on the list and group all those things together, because those feel really good to check off. So it's like, okay, I've got 7 things on the list that are all 5 minute tasks. So I didn't stop my workflow to do them, but I've got them all grouped, and I'm tired right now and I just need to get some stuff done. I'm going to go do all my easy tasks and just boom, 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 boom. And somehow doing all your easy tasks, checking them off your list, it just is like this boost of dopamine. And then you just feel great to keep going. Right. So, I mean, this is a psychology thing more than anything else. But if you do this notepad method of kind of task management, it will really reduce anxiety, focus you in, and it will help you with your time management significantly.
I think that'll be a great tool for me to use. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I have spent a lot of time thinking almost minute by minute, what is the next most important thing for me to do right now? But without clearly written down, I write stuff down, but not in that manner, and not always, never every day.
Yeah, every day, multiple times a day. The exercise of just taking out a blank piece of paper and writing down everything that's on your mind, it takes that sense of feeling overwhelmed and erases it.
Have you ever been in a volleyball game and you're like, man, we're losing. I haven't done any spikes this game. I have to spike it on the other team. And then it works out and you do a big spike and your team scores a point. And from then on, you're just fully energized, fully engaged. You're not tired anymore, nothing. You're just like, whoa, I did that. So
I have not had that experience, but it sounds relatable.
That's what you're telling me about, basically.
Yes.
It's same.
Get a spike, get a win.
Same psychology.
Just energizes you to keep pushing through that list.
And a lot of times, difficult phone calls only take a minute or less. Hey, your stuff just came in, but I don't have the connectors ready. I'm sorry. I'm working on the connectors. I'll get it to you as soon as possible. Something like that,
Well, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. This is another lesson, just a freebie that I'll tag on, is that people generally don't care about bad news if they're being communicated with. People hate to be ghosted. Yeah. And this is true of lawyers, CPAs, doctors, people that blow you off, make you feel so salesmen, make you feel so unvalued and disrespected. Right? Don't wait to give me the call because it's bad news. I just want to know. Right? And if you tell me why, like, I usually don't care, right? It's like, hey, I'm sorry these came in, but the connectors are missing. It's going to be another 3 months before these connectors come in. I'm sorry. Right? Like, okay, well, thanks for letting me know. If you wait 2 weeks and then they're like, why isn't Justin calling me? Why isn't Justin calling me? And then you tell them, hey, these parts are going to be in for 3 months. Now they're mad that you didn't call them, and they're mad about the thing, and they're going to blame you for both. But if you just said, hey, I just found out, I just opened your shipment, and this is what I saw, right? Most of the time people are pretty reasonable. So it just communicate right away with people, because that's usually what people care about more than the news itself.
It's what I care about after all. I mean, it really sucks to be let just, if you have a question and somebody's just ghosting you because they don't have an answer, it's better if they say, I don't have an answer, I'm going to try to get it to you.
Yeah.
Than just leaving it. So I find that I communicate with so many people.
Yep. 100%. Well, thanks so much, Justin. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I'm rooting for your business, and I think you really got a great business and a great business idea. So looking forward to following it as it continues to grow. And I'll be seeing you in my class, which I'm also excited about.
All right. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
I learned a lot today.
Great. Thanks, Justin.
So appreciate it.
Thanks for checking out this podcast. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us out as content creators. I'm Adam Diaz, and I have nearly 20 years experience building, selling, and advising small businesses. Welcome to this channel. I'm going to be doing videos and content on everything business strategy, business finance, and business leadership. This isn't pie in the sky theory. This is real life. How do I make my business run successfully? A lot of us go into business because we're passionate about something. I'm passionate about making businesses work. You've come to the right place, and you're going to get a lot of content on this channel about how to grow your business and make it more successful.